So with this objectives, let's move ahead. Mic is very close to me, and uh, what is the quality of my voice? Anyone just write. Happy. So I presume that my voice is clear now. Okay, thank you. So with this objective, let's begin our today's session. This session will not take much time. This is more important as far as for the Viva or for the practical sessions are concerned. So just try, you can open your books along with this presentation. For the photograph, if you want to refer the picture from your own book, that is okay from my side. So the objective of today's session is that after this session, you will be able to describe features of small as well as large, general gross features of the gross anatomical feature of small as well as large intestine. You should be able to enumerate various parts. You should be able to differentiate between small and large intestine. You should be able to differentiate between the parts of small intestine, that is the how to differentiate grossly, means just looking at the gross morphological feature of duodenum and ileum. Okay, so in this picture, you can see here, this is the stomach over here. The next is your basically duodenum, and this is the pyloric end of the, this is the pyloric end of basically your stomach. From here, from this point up to your ileocecal junction is basically our small intestine, right? And this small intestine we divide into three parts. First part, this C-shaped part is the duodenum. The next part is the duodenum, and the terminal part which basically communicate with your large intestine is your ileum basically. So all these three parts together, they constitute your small intestine. But when we talk about the proper small intestine, most of the author, they are basically, sometimes they, that means they will be referring only the duodenum and the ileal part or the ileum part, right? But of course, your duodenum is also part of small intestine. I will not be covering this duodenum. This will be taken care separately. But I will be talking about the gross morphological features of your duodenum, which forms the roughly your the small intestine, which is roughly around 6 to 6.5 meters long, and the proximal means after this duodenum, the proximal 2/5 will be formed by your duodenum, and the inferior means the distal 3/5 will be formed by the ileum. So before we move into the gross features, let us see some very important features which you should know before, so that it will be helpful for us to make the difference, the gross difference between the different part of the small intestine. So basically, as I mentioned you, the small intestine, which extends from duodenal flexure to the ileocecal junction, and upper 2/5 part will be termed as duodenum, and the lower 3/5 part will be termed as ileum. So what is the structure? If we are looking now in this picture, what we will be doing, we will be looking at the structure of the wall of small intestine. We will be, if we move from inside to outside, there are basically four layers. First is the mucosal cell layer, then next is the submucosa. After submucosa, towards the peripheral side, you have the muscular layer. Then the outermost layer is your serosa. So if we move within outward, there are mucosa, then you have the submucosa, then you have the muscularis layer, then you have the serosal layer. Now, what is visible, you can see these circular folds. This is the cut section of the small intestine. You can see there are visible, which is visible by the naked eye. Naked eye, you can see, you can very well appreciate these circular folds, mucosal folds, and these mucosal folds are termed as plica circularis, which is mentioned here. So this is the plica circularis, or the sometimes another term for these circular permanent folds is the walls of the circle. So these are the permanent structure. It has nothing to do when you, even if your intestine is not distended, you will be able to see these kinds of folds. And you can see from the mucosal there are some this finger-like projection, towards the lumen of your intestine, and those structures will be termed as villi. And individual epithelial cells also, they also have microvilli present on them. So basically, if we look, there are four basically layers in small intestine. From within outward, they are mucosa, then which contains the epithelial cell, and those epithelial cells also having the microvilli, and as the mucosal finger like projection which is there in your basically in your towards your lumen, that is the villi. And then there are some permanent circular folds, mucosal circular folds, which is the permanent in nature and does not disappear during the distension of small intestine. They will be termed as plica circularis. And if we look at the muscular cell layer, this muscular cell layer is basically made of two important things. Inner means outside it is having a longitudinal muscular cord, and inside it is having a circular muscular cord. So with this picture, basic feature, I think we can move further. So this is how a villi basically looks. You can see here, this is the duodenum, this is the epithelial cells, even microvilli are present there, and this finger-like projection which is termed as villi. So these finger-like projection of the small intestinal lining, they are termed as villi. This provides basically more surface area for the absorption of the nutrient. Each epithelial cell, as I mentioned, will be providing some microvilli, which is present over here, which will further increase the surface area, Now, the cell lining here, they will be helpful for the passive as well as active transport of the food stuff or the nutrient, and which is required, which is the functional aspect of your small intestine. So with this basic feature, now we can, I think, move with our today's main topic, and that is the gross morphological features of small intestine, different parts of small intestine, and how to differentiate between duodenum and ileum. Then later on, we will be differentiating by looking at the gross morphological feature between the small and the large intestine. Okay, so how to differentiate between duodenum and ileum? As I mentioned you, duodenum is also part of small intestine, but what presently we will be looking only and only between the part of the small intestine distal to duodenum up to ileocecal, and the proximal 2/5 will be your duodenum, and the distal 3/5 will be your ileum. So let us see how to differentiate between these two parts of duodenum and ileum. There is no clear-cut anatomical distinction, means a separation between these two parts of the ileum. They are continuous with each other. So we will be looking at certain features. So those features will be wall, lumen, then the pattern of the circular course, which I termed at the beginning for the plica circularis. Then we will be looking at the villi, and then we will be looking for the arterial supply of these important parts. So if you look at this picture, this is the transverse column. We just simply unfold this area. This is the greater omentum towards the superior side, so that you can look at the folds of the intestine. The proximal part, which is your duodenum over here, this is the section of the duodenum, and here for the description I have kept one picture which is of the ileum. So if we look at the wall, the wall of duodenum is thick as compared to the ileum. Comparatively, the thickness of the duodenal wall is more, and it is more vascular in nature as compared to ileum. So this is first difference. The first difference is within the wall itself. So the wall of the duodenum is thicker as compared to the wall of your ileum. Now next feature, which is very important, which might not be clear with this picture, but once you look directly in a true vista, you will be able, or that too of the same human being, you can differentiate the size of the lumen. The size of the lumen in duodenum is wider. Here, if you look simply only and only at the size of the lumen, so the size of the lumen is in a same person as compared to your ileum is always more, and in cadaver you will be able to find the empty lumen. Even in a living person, means of course food will be transmitting from duodenum to ileum, but most of the time because the passage from the duodenum is very fast, so as compared to ileum, the lumen size is more. Second thing, and often it is empty as compared to the ileum, which contains some chitin in it, and the size of the lumen will be smaller as compared to the size of the duodenum. So till now we have seen two features. First is the wall, second is the size of the lumen. Now coming to one very important feature, which is this picture also. You can easily appreciate the difference between the plica circularis in this as compared to this picture. If you look at the inner surface of the duodenum, you can very well appreciate that the plica circularis, which is present in the duodenum, and those are also present in ileum, but in duodenum, they are closely set and they are large in size. So the circular fold, the permanent circular fold, which I showed you in this picture, very beginning means introductory picture over here. This plica circularis, which are nothing but the permanent fold of your mucosal wall, they are present in both the areas. They are present in duodenum as well as in ileum, but in duodenum they are longer as compared to ileum, and they are closely set, while in case of ileum you can see very clearly they are smaller and sparsely placed. So they are not placed, their density, or you can say they are placed sparsely means away from each other, while here you can see this is densely present in case of your duodenum. So the next basic feature is the presence of plica circularis, longer and closely setted in case of your duodenum, while in your ileum they are smaller in size and sparsely set. So this is the next difference which you will be able to appreciate even in this picture. And in a true specimen vista, it is very easy to differentiate this. Now the next difference which you may not be able to see with your naked eye here, but yes, you can see those difference in a with the help of a hand lens, and even with the very minimum magnification. That is the characteristic features of villi. Villi, which I showed you the general feature of the villi. So in case of duodenum, you have the number of villi are more as compared to your ileum. So villi will be more in duodenum. They will be large as compared to your ileum. They will be thick thick as compared to the ileum, and microscopically if you look, means their structure will be more, they will give a appearance of leaf like villi, and in case of ileum the structure of villi will be more like finger like projection. So all these differences you will be able to see in the histology lab when you will do the histological practical, but that difference you should remember. Next is the next difference, which you may not be able to see in this picture, but that is again a histological difference. That in case of your ileum, you will be having the accumulation of lymph nodes, which is the pairs patches present in the submucosal area. So there is lymphoid tissue which is present more densely in the submucosa of your ileum. Those lymphoid follicles, aggregated lymphoid follicles, are termed as pair patches, and pair patches are more in the ileum as compared to your duodenum. So this is another difference, but yes, this is not a gross difference. Now the gross difference, remaining two gross difference, you will be able to see even in this picture. So here, this is the duodenum, this is the ileum, this is the blood supply of the duodenum and ileum. So the difference, what is visible here, but before I tell you exactly what difference is visible in this picture, I would like to tell you very briefly about the blood supply or the arterial supply specifically, not the blood supply of your small intestine. So basically, duodenum and ileum, which are the part of your midgut, they are supplied by the jejunal and the ileal branches. And those 15 to 20 jejunal or the ileal branches, they are arising from the superior mesenteric artery. So you can see here, this is the superior mesenteric. Just a representative diagram for the understanding. So from these superior mesenteric vessels, basically the jejunal and the ileal branches, basically they arises, and then as soon as they enter into the mesentery, this yellowish is the mesentery, they entered into the mesentery. Once they entered into the mesentery, as soon as they enter into the mesentery, they break up into smaller, basically vessels, and those vessels एनास्टमाइजिंग विद ईच अदर, एक दूसरे के साथ एनास्मोसिस कर रहे हैं, एंड दे फॉर्म दिस आर्टियल आर्केड. So these are the arterial arcade which is forming over here. So this is the arterial arcade. क्या हुआ, सुपीरियर मेसेंट्रिक आर्टरी से ब्रांचेस आई, जूनियर और इलियर ब्रांचेस. उन्होंने मेसेंट्री में जैसे ही एंटर किया, उसके बाद फर्दर अपनी ब्रांचेस बनाई, और ये ब्रांचेस आपस में एनास्मोस कर रही है, और इस तरह से एक आर्केड बन गया, जिसको हम बोल रहे हैं आर्टेरियल आर्केड. Now, if you look at the jejunal side, there is a difference in the structure of these arterial arcades, which you need to understand. In case of your jejunum, these arterial arcades, they are 1 to 2 rows. So here in this picture, I have shown only the one row of the arterial arcade, and here towards the ileal side, you can see MUC1. Then this is the second row, then you have the third row of the arterial arcade. So the difference between jejunum and ileum in relation to these arterial arcades are that in case of jejunum, there is either single or maximum to maximum 2 rows of the arterial arcade, while in ileum, you will be having roughly 3 to 4 rows of the arterial arcade. And from these arterial arcades, these longitudinal vessels which runs and supply the wall of your small intestine, these vessels are termed as vasa recta. So this is the vasa recta on this side. Here these are the vasa recta which is supplying your ileum. And if you look at the vasa recta only, you will be able to appreciate that the vasa recta, they are more lengthy as compared to vasa recta of the ileum over here. So the main difference in the arterial supply is that these arterial arcades are 1 or 2 rows in case of your jejunum, while in case of your ileum, these arterial arcades, they are 3 to 4 rows, and the size of these vasa recta, there is a difference in the size of the vasa recta. In case of jejunum, these vasa recta are long and less in number, while in case of the ileum, these vasa recta, they are short and they are more or numerous in number. So this is another difference in form which you can appreciate even in a gross specimen. You need not to look with microscope. So till now, grossly you can differentiate while looking at the walls. You can differentiate between jejunum and ileum while looking at the lumen size. Then of course, the one very important characteristic feature is the plica circularis. Then just looking at the arterial arcade, you can differentiate between the jejunum and the ileum part of the small intestine. Now, one very important characteristic feature which you can appreciate with your naked eye is if you look at the mesentery. So this is the mesentery. Although in this picture, this is just a representative diagram for better understanding. The difference between the mesentery of the jejunum and ileum is that in case of the jejunum, the amount of fat which is present in the mesentery of jejunum is less as compared to the mesentery of ileum. And because of less fat content in jejunum, if you look through this mesentery, then it will be easy to look through because the density of the fat is less in case of the mesentery of jejunum, and those very less fat amount will be termed as windows. So basically the mesentery of your jejunum contains very less fat and they are more translucent as compared to the translucency in ileum. So if you look at the mesentery between the vasa recta over here, and if you look at the mesentery of ileum between two vasa recta, because fat will be more in case of mesentery of the ileum. It will be less translucent, while the mesentery of duodenum will be more translucent. So this is one characteristic feature which you can very well easily differentiate with your naked eye. So just to summarize, the difference between the duodenum and ileum is, number one, now I will not be going into the microscopic feature. Grossly, just look at the wall. So the wall of the duodenum is more thick as compared to the wall of the ileum, number one. Lumen is more, and mostly it is empty as compared to ileum, where the lumen size is small, and this will be filled with some undigested food particle. The number or the density of this plica circularis, the size of this plica circularis will be more as compared to ileum, and here it will be basically the plica circularis will be closely set as compared to ileum, where it will be features you can differentiate. And then you can look at the rows of the arterial arcade. Normally in duodenum, 1 to 2 rows of the arterial arcade, while in case of ileum you will be having 3 to 4 rows of the arterial arcade, and the vasa recta, which will be these long end arteries. You can see here these vasa recta are small, means large as compared to the vasa recta which is supplying the walls of the ileum. And the window, the peritoneal window here, because in case of your ileum it is filled with the fat particle, and there will be more windows, and this will be more translucent in case of the duodenum. So these are some gross features which you need to identify in the gross specimen. Other than this, microscopically, the villi of the duodenum will be more large, leaf-like, as compared to the finger-like, thin and short villi of your ileum. Similarly, there will be presence of the paired patches in the ileum, which is nothing but the aggregated lymph follicles. So these are the difference between the duodenum and the ileum. So in order to answer the questions in your practical, these are the gross features which I try to explain: the presence of the arterial arcade, vasa recta, windows, as well as the plica circularis and the wall of the lumen. So these are the features which you need to understand. You can see in this picture also. So this is the duodenal end and the ileal part. So this is small intestine. You can see here 1 or 2 rows of the arterial arcade, then the long vasa recta. While if you are moving from duodenum to ileus, these arcades, they are more than means 1 row. The number of rows are there, and they are smaller, and they have a smaller distance, what you say, the vasa recta. So this is the stomach. Here is the duodenum. You have the duodenum, then the ileum, and then it is at the junction of the ileocecal. Now this is the location of the cecum, then appendix, and then you have the large intestine. So till now, we have seen the difference between the different part of small intestine. Rather to be specific, it is the difference between the duodenum and your ileum. Okay, so before we move to the large intestine, gross morphological feature of large intestine and the main distinguished feature between large and the small intestine, let us see very briefly about the functions of the large intestine. We know it is responsible for the absorption of water and solutes. Then we know it is lined by the simple columnar cell with the goblet cells, and it is having the numerous lymphatic follicles. All this microscopic feature will be dealt in the histology itself. Okay, so what is large intestine? Large intestine basically which extends from your cecum up to your anus in the perineum. So the cecum is present in the right iliac fossa. So basically large intestine, which is roughly 1.5 meter long and extend from the cecum up to your anus, which is present in the perineum, right? So what are the parts of the large intestine other than cecum? If you look in this picture, there are different parts. You can see here, this is the cecum, then this is your ascending colon, then you have the transverse colon, then you have the descending colon, then you have the sigmoid colon, then you have the rectum, and then you have the anus, which will be opening through the anal pore, right? So basically, which enters into an absorption of water, so that it can help in the expulsion of the basically feces. So this is basically parts. So parts, if you talk about the parts, cecum, then you have the colon, this complete colon, then you have the rectum, and of course the anal canal. This colon you can divide into ascending, transverse, descending, and the sigmoid part. So I'm not going to differentiate, means giving you the different feature of those parts, but I will be giving you the main difference between small and the large intestine. The point which you need to understand, आपको पेरिटोनियम ऑलरेडी मेरे से पहले लेक्चर में मैडम ने पढ़ाया है. All parts of these large intestine, which is extending from here to here, they are retroperitoneal. They are present retroperitoneal and fixed with the posterior abdominal wall, except the appendix, this transverse colon, this sigmoid colon, which are intraperitoneal. So only three parts. One is the your appendix, which is present over here, attached with the cecum, then your transverse, this colon, and then your sigmoid colon. Only these three parts basically they are intraperitoneal. Rest all parts are basically retroperitoneal. So you can see in this picture, small intestine here, then you have the appendix, cecum, ascending, transverse, descending colon. Here is the sigmoid colon. Then you have the rectum and the anal canal. Already I mentioned you what are the parts, which is peritoneal and retroperitoneal. Now there are three characteristic features. There are three characters. Background noise, beta, I don't know, because my mic is very clear and I am sitting all along in the room. Maybe because of fan, so I can't help in that. So there are basically, before we see those three difference, very basic, this is very basic demonstration. Basically there are three distinguishing features of the large intestine which is not present in your small intestine. Those are the cardinal features which I am going to describe now. And if you are able to see those differences in a live specimen, which is very easy to differentiate, I will explain you one by one. So this is the last part of our today's demonstration, of course, PPT demonstration. So just look at this picture. What I mentioned when I mentioned you at the beginning of this session, that we have mucosa, then submucosa, means if you look at the wall of GIT as such. So if you look at the mucosa, then you have submucosa, then you have the muscular layer, then you have the serosa or the adventitia, right? जनरल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ जीआईटी, राइट. ये चार लेयर होती है. अब हर लेयर के अंदर थोड़ा बहुत डिफरेंस हो सकता है डिपेंडिंग कि कौन सा एरिया जीआईटी का कौन सा फंक्शन करने वाला है, राइट. सो बेसिकली उनकी वजह से थोड़े बहुत क्रॉस भी यहाँ डिफरेंशिएशन आता है. जब हम मस्कुलर लेयर की बात कर रहे थे तो हमने मस्कुलर लेयर में क्या देखा था? हमने मस्कुलर लेयर में देखा था कि अगर मैं इंटेस्टाइन की बात करता हूँ, स्टोमक की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं यहाँ. स्टोमक में वी हैव in the muscular layer we have the three layers. सबसे जो इनर मोस्ट होती है वहाँ ऑब्लिकली प्लेस होती है, उसके बाद मिडल में हमारे पास सर्कुलरली प्लेस आती है, और आउटर मोस्ट इज द लॉन्गिट्यूडनल मसल लेयर. इंटेस्टाइन में हमारे पास दो लेयर्स है. वन इज द सर्कुलर मसल लेयर विच इज लाइंग आउटसाइड. तो बेसिकली अगर मैं यहाँ पे आपको तीन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर बोलता हूँ which is present only and only in your large intestine, and first is the Taenia coli. So what is Taenia coli? That I will be explaining. So these Taenia coli are ribbon-like bands of basically longitudinal muscle core. So what happen in case of large intestine? Small intestine में, complete small intestine में circular muscle layer के बाहर ऊपर से नीचे तक एक आपका longitudinal layer रन कर रहा था. While in case of your large intestine, सारी की सारी वॉल के अंदर वो लॉन्गिट्यूडनल मस्कुलर लेयर नहीं होता, रादर वो मस्कुलर लेयर जो है, लॉन्गिट्यूडनल जो मस्कुलर लेयर है, वो तीन जगहों पे कंसंट्रेट हो जाता है. और वो means vertically placed, of course longitudinally placed, not vertically, longitudinally placed, but that longitudinal muscle cord basically they are present only at 3 points rather than encircling whole the wall. ऊपर से आ रहा था, जैसे ही आपकी स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन को क्रॉस की, अपेंडिक्स, यहाँ पे अपेंडिक्स आता है, यहाँ के बाद में यहाँ से धीरे धीरे वो स्प्रेड हो गया और सिर्फ 3 जगहों के ऊपर रह गया. So those longitudinal muscle cords in case of your large intestine, they are present like ribbon-like bands of the muscle, and these bands converge proximally at the base of the appendix and spread out distally again at the level of your rectum and encircle complete rectum as a longitudinal muscular cord. So what is happening? This is nothing but the three ribbon-like bands which is present in your large intestine. They are nothing but the longitudinal muscle cord, and these bands are basically made of the longitudinal muscle cord only. So these are the tinea coli. So they are located at 3 points related to your large intestine. In the cecum, if you look at the cecum, if you look at the ascending colon, and if you look at the descending colon, their positions are anteriorly, then they have the posterior medially, and then they have the posterior lateral arrangement of these longitudinal muscle band, which is termed as tinea. While if you look at the transverse colon, you can see one band is running anteriorly, one band will be posterior inferior. This is basically, if you look at the transverse colon here, this is basically one will be towards the inferior side, and one will be towards the posterior side, and this is the superior band, which is the labia. So this is superior, one will be inferior, and one will be basically on the posterior side. तो ये जो तीन आपके लॉन्गिट्यूडनल मसल के बैंड रन कर रहे हैं लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन में, उन बैंड लाइक स्ट्रक्चर्स को हम tinea coli कहते हैं, which is you can very well identify in case of your large intestine, and it is absent in case of your small intestine. So this is the first cardinal feature which is present only in your large intestine, and they are absent in your small intestine, right? So their location varies in case of your ascending and the transverse. In case of your basically cecum, ascending and the descending colon, they are present anteriorly. You can see here, this is anteriorly. Then of course posterior medially and posterior laterally. So the anterior medial one which is present here, it is termed as tinea libera. The one which is present posterior medially, that is termed as tinea mesocolica, and the one which is present on the posterior lateral side, that is termed as tinea mentalis, right? While in case of your transverse colon, they are present superiorly, inferiorly, and posterior. So this is these three longitudinal bands, which are termed as tinea coli, are one characteristic feature of the large intestine. Then comes the second characteristic feature, which is your ostrum or the circulation. You can see here, आपको इस तरह से एक सेक्यूल, दूसरा सेक्यूल, तीसरा सेक्यूल, चौथा सेक्यूल, इस तरह से सेक्यूल दिख रहे. So this is nothing but this is the circulation or the ostration. ठीक है, ये हॉस्ट्रेशन क्यों बनते हैं, इनका भी इसी टीनिया कोलाई से लेना देना है, क्योंकि द लेंथ ऑफ द टीनिया कोलाई, अगर मैं लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन की बात करता हूँ 1.5 मीटर है, तो द लेंथ ऑफ द टीनिया कोलाई इज नॉट 1.5 मीटर, राइट? तो उसकी वजह से थोड़ी थोड़ी दूर में ये कंस्ट्रिक्शन डेवलप हो जाते हैं, और ये जो सर्कुलेशन है फंक्शनली लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन के फंक्शनल हेल्प भी करते हैं. तो बेसिकली देयर आर सीरीज ऑफ दिस डायलेटेड एंड कंस्ट्रिक्टेड पाउच in the wall of your basically in the wall of your large intestine, and these are formed because there is a difference between the length of your large intestine and that of the tinea coli, and these puckered appearance is termed as ostration or the circulation. So this is the second very important differentiating feature. The last differentiating feature is the appendix epiploidy, which is maybe in your books in BD Codicia, they may be written as appendices epiploidy, and in some books you can use this epiploidy in front of appendages. So this is epiploidy appendages. which is visible here. So what are these structures? These are nothing but basically small bags of the visceral peritoneum which contain fats in it, and they are present on the anti-mesenteric border. So basically they are nothing but the fat filled bags of the visceral peritoneum which is attached to the tinea of your large intestine, basically at the anti-mesenteric border. So they are also, of course, these epiploidy appendages or the appendix epiploidy, they are not present on the appendix. In the appendix area, they are not present, but yes, otherwise in most of the large intestine, they are present. So this is the visceral peritoneal sac filled with fat. So these three characteristic features are there, and with the help of these characteristic features, you can differentiate between small and large intestine in a gross way. Other than that, you have certain differences which is mentioned in your books also. Few of them, they are histological differences, and these three differences are basically gross morphological, and why and how they are forming, I try to explain that. So if in order to summarize, you can say that the small intestine is roughly 6 meter, which is very large lengthwise, as compared to large intestine, which is just 1.5 meter. Then the lumen, if you compare the lumen of small and large intestine, but yes, that you can differentiate only if you are looking at the lumen of the same human being. ठीक है, एग्जाम में भी अलग अलग की हो सकती है, इसलिए don't rely much on that. The lumen of small intestine is narrow as compared to the lumen of large intestine. Then if you talk about the mobility, of course, most of the small intestine except your duodenum is peritoneal. So it is basically having its own mesentery. While as I mentioned you at the beginning that this large intestine, basically all parts of large intestines are, most of the parts of the large intestine are retroperitoneal and fixed. So the mobility, except of course appendix is peritoneal. Then you have the transverse colon and the sigmoid colon. It is holded by the of their corresponding mesentery, but most part of the large intestine is fixed. So that is again a feature, but that is only a theoretical feature because you will not be able to describe in a small specimen of these features, uh, right? So the difference is there, of course. Then if you look at the wall, which is microscopically, in small intestine you have the villi, but in large intestine there will be no villi, right? Already I mentioned at the beginning. Then in the small intestine you might have the Peyer's patches, which is of course more in the ileal area, but there will be no Peyer's patches in case of your large intestine. Yes, these three cardinal features will be there in large intestine. The presence of Taenia coli, which is nothing but the fiber-like, but the band-like fibers, which is nothing but the longitudinal muscle coat of the large intestine, which is now concentrated only at 3 points rather than encircling whole wall of the large intestine. So they are the Taenia coli. Because of this Taenia coli, there will be circulation or the ostration, and the visceral peritoneum at some places will be basically holding a good amount of fat, which is the peritoneal fat within it, and these are termed as the epiploidy appendages or appendices epiploidy. So these are basically three cardinal features other than the length, the size of the lumen, the mobility, the presence or absence of the villi, or the presence or absence of the Peyer's patches. So these are some characteristic features which you need to understand and helpful in differentiating between small and large intestine. This already I explained you what is Taenia coli, what is circulation, what is appendices. Here you can see in this picture. So this is the ileocecal junction. This is cecum. Here this is the appendix. So cecum, you should know what is the location. Here this is the cecum. You should know what is the ileocecal wall. Although it has nothing to do with my today's session, but just you should know all these things other than what I mentioned. You should know why the infection and inflammation of appendix is more common. What are the openings of appendix? its position. These are the different positions which is shown in this figure. You should know about the pain of the appendicitis, which has something to do with the, of course, the segmental supply of the appendix. So then embryology will be, when we will be going through the development of the GIT, that time please try to correlate which spinal segment will be responsible for the appendix. Then you can very well appreciate that the first pain will be at around umbilicus. Then later on it will be referred to the right iliac fossa. So it will, at the beginning of the inflammation, it will be at around umbilical, periumbilical pain or vegetation. Then this pain will be later felt in the right iliac fossa. You should try to correlate all these things. The McBurney point, where you need to look for the appendicular pain in case if there is appendicitis. So if you draw a line from anterior superior intestine up to umbilicus, this is the medial 2/3, lateral 1/3. This is the point which you need to understand. These are some points related with the dissection. So I have covered basically the difference between the small and the large intestine. That too in terms of the gross morphological features, presence of Taenia coli, presence of speculation or the ostration, presence of appendices, epipliety in case of large intestine, which is absent in small intestine. And other than that, the difference between the duodenum and ileum, which forms the proximal 2/5 and the distal 2/5 part of your small intestine proper, although your duodenum is also part of your small intestine, right? So this is all about today's session. So just a brief this thing, when you give the difference between duodenum and ileum, you can differentiate gross differences and the histological differences. So the gross difference between duodenum and ileum is related to the arterial arcade, then the size of the wall, then the pattern of the plica circularis, then some microscopic that you can give in terms of the presence or absence of the pairs patches. Then, of course, the what is that your basically the pattern of the villi and the shape of the villi, which is the difference between the shape and the pattern of the villi between the duodenum and ileum. This is the arterial arcade, vasa recta. You can differentiate the vasa recta of duodenum and ileum with that of. Similarly, you can differentiate between the arterial arcade, which is 1 or 2 rows in case of duodenum, while in ileum it is 3 to 4 rows. So this is all about our today's session. If you have any question, you can write in the chat box because we have, I think, 15 minutes more. If you want any question, any clarification, you can write in the chat box. We have the time. We have time. Still, we have time. Don't worry. So, any question? Gross morphological difference between small and large intestine, or between the different part of your small intestine? Okay. So, I presume that there is no questions from your side. Okay, so you want to know about Shivani, you want to know about the vasa recta. Okay, see, as I mentioned you, the small intestine is a part of midgut, and the main artery responsible for midgut is your superior mesenteric artery, right? Superior mesenteric artery gives roughly, means in some cases up to 15 to 20, sometimes means in some books it is mentioned 10 to 15, in some books it is mentioned 15 to 20, branches. Okay, so those are the duodenal or the ileal branches. Now these branches ultimately has to reach up to the walls of your intestine so that it can supply, right? What happens once they arises from the superior mesenteric artery, these duodenal or the ileal branches, they enter the mesentery, because there is only one rasta, केवल एक ही रास्ता है हमारे पास mesentery तक, mesentery जहां से हम intestinal wall तक जा सकते हैं. I will show you that picture. Okay, ठीक है. तो ये mesentery है, एक तरफ ये mesenteric border मान लीजिए, ये anti mesenteric border मान लीजिए, ठीक है. तो हमारी जो सुपीरियर मेसेंट्रिक थी, सुपीरियर मेसेंट्रिक ने हमारे को जो ड्यूजीनियल या आइलियल ब्रांचेस दे दी, वो मेसेंट्री के थ्रू ही अंदर आ सकती है. मेसेंट्री क्या है, ऐसे गई और एक तरफ से कवर करते हुए गई दूसरी तरफ. तो रास्ता कौन सा है हमारे पास वॉल तक जाने का इंटेस्टाइन की, पेरिटोनियम में आपने पढ़ा ही होगा, दैट इज द मेसेंट्री, ठीक है. तो सुपीरियर मेसेंट्रिक से हमारे साथ निकलती है यहाँ से ड्यूजीनियल और द इलियल ब्रांच, ठीक है. इन केस ऑफ ड्यूजीनियल ब्रांचेज, इन केस ऑफ इलियल ब्रांचेज, ठीक है. अब जब वो अंदर आती है, वो छोटी छोटी फर्दर ऐसे आर्केट्स बनाएगी, ठीक है. ये आर्केट बनी. अब जो ड्यूजीनियम होता है उसमें ये आर्केट सिंगल या 2 रो का होता है, जबकि इन केस ऑफ आइलियम ये 3-4 लेयर्स का और मतलब फ्लोर्स का हो सकता है, ठीक है. अब उस जगह से इस आर्केट से क्या होता है, ठीक है, व्हाट इज हैपन नेक्स्ट इज there is this is the distal part or the convex part of these arteries. यहाँ से हमारे सामने पैरेलल ऐसे आर्टरीज रन करती है towards the wall of your intestine, and these vessels, rectus मतलब कि लंबी लंबी आर्टरीज बेसिकली, ठीक है. तो these straight vessels they are termed as vasa recta, ठीक है. तो क्या हुआ, सुपीरियर मेसेंट्रिक से ड्यूजीनियल या इलियल ब्रांचेस निकली, उसने मेसेंट्री में एंटर किया. मेसेंट्री में एंटर करने के बाद उन्होंने अलग अलग कई सारी ब्रांचेस बनाई और ऐसे आर्केड बना लिया. अब इन आर्केड से चाहे वो ड्यूजीनियम हो या आइलियम हो, डिफरेंस केवल है कितने फ्लोर का आर्केड बन रहा है या कितनी रोज का आर्केड. उन आर्केड से फाइनली आपको लंबी लंबी ऐसी आर्टरीज, सिंगल स्मॉल ब्रांचेस निकल रही है लॉन्गिट्यूडनल, विच इज गोइंग टूवर्ड्स द वॉल ऑफ योर इंटेस्टाइन, ठीक है. उन वेसल्स को, उन पैरेलल स्ट्रेट वेसल्स को हम वासा रेक्टा कहते हैं, ठीक है. तो ये वासा रेक्टा है, ये वासा रेक्टा है, ये वासा रेक्टा है, इधर ये सारी वासा रेक्टा है, ठीक है. अब सिंपल डिफरेंस, ये वासा रेक्टा आपकी डिफरेंस क्या है ड्यूजीनियम या इलियम में, डिफरेंस सिर्फ इतना है कि दीज वासा रेक्टा, क्योंकि यहाँ आर्टेरियल आर्केड छोटे हैं, 1 या 2 रो के हैं, तो ये लंबी लंबी होती है इन केस ऑफ ड्यूजीनियम. इन केस ऑफ आइलियम क्योंकि आर्केड बड़े ज्यादा होते, 3, 4, 5 रो के, तो वहां से छोटी छोटी सी वासा रेक्टा निकलती है. तो दिस इज द डिफरेंस. तो वासा रेक्टा आर नथिंग बट दीज पैरेलल स्ट्रेट वेसल which basically arises and pass through the mesenteric border of the gut, ठीक है, क्योंकि इसको गट की वॉल को सप्लाई करना है. तो these are basically your vasa recta. ओके, तो सुरभि आप जानना चाहते हो कॉस्ट्रेशन के बारे में, 5 मिनट है, आई कैन टेक दिस क्वेश्चन. बेटा जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले बोला, देखिए हमारी कोरिलेट करना है, कोई भी इंडिविजुअली अलग से हम पार्ट नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है कि स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन और लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन अलग से कोई नई चीज बॉडी में आ गई. जीआईटी के अंदर अगर हम इन जनरल बात करते हैं, तभी मैंने पहली दूसरी जो आपको लेयर्स दिखाने की कोशिश की थी, मैं वापस दिखाता हूँ. 1 मिनट, लेट मी शो यू हियर. दिस इज जस्ट बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर, ठीक है. स्टोमक में थोड़ा डिफरेंस होगा, स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन, लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन, अलग अलग पार्ट में भी स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन और लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन वगैरह में थोड़ा बहुत इन लेयर्स का डिफरेंस होता है. बट अगर हम एक जर्नल बोलते हैं तो जीआईटी की 4 लेयर्स होती है. वॉल जो बना रही है, जो वॉल है, अंदर से बाहर की तरफ जाए, सबसे अंदर म्यूकोजा होता है. म्यूकोजा के बाद हमारे पास सब म्यूकोजा आ गया. सब म्यूकोजा के बाद हमारे पास मस्कुलर लेयर आ गई. मस्कुलर लेयर के बाद में हमारे पास सिरोसा या एडवेंशिया आ जाता है, ठीक है. हम केवल इस मसल लेयर की अभी बात करते हैं ताकि आपको फ्रस्ट्रेशन समझा सके. ये मसल लेयर अगर आप देख रहे हो तो अंदर सर्कुलर मसल है, बाहर की तरफ लॉन्गिट्यूडनल मसल, ठीक है. स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन में सर्कुलर मसल चारों तरफ से, इंटेस्टाइन के हर पार्ट में इट इज कवर्ड बाय द लॉन्गिट्यूडनल लेयर. तो लॉन्गिट्यूडनल लेयर ऑफ कोर्स लॉन्गिट्यूडनली अरेंज है. व्हाइल इन केस ऑफ लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन क्या होता है कि ये जो लॉन्गिट्यूडनल मसल लेयर थी ना रह के 3 जगह पे अपने आप को कंसंट्रेट कर लेती है, ठीक है. और 3 इस तरह से लॉन्गिट्यूडनल बैंड्स बना लेती है, जिनको हम बोलते हैं टीनिया कोलाई। ठीक है, तो ये जो टीनिया कोलाई होती है, अगर मैं लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन की बात करता हूँ तो लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन में जैसे यहाँ आपको दिख रहा है इन्होंने बैंड्स बना लिए, तो दीज आर द टीनिया कोलाई। ठीक है, अब ये जो टीनिया कोलाई ये क्या है, ये कुछ नहीं है, ये लॉन्गिट्यूडनल मसल बैंड है। तो जब हम अगर एक पाइप के ऊपर आप 3 एरिया में केवल लॉन्गिट्यूडनल मसल्स बना दे, बाकी वॉल में केवल और केवल सर्कुलर है, और उस लॉन्गिट्यूडनल मसल लेयर जो है उसकी लेंथ पूरी लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन के मुकाबले अगर छोटी हो जाती है, तो क्या करता है, वो क्या करेगा, थोड़ी थोड़ी दूर पे इस तरह से कंस्ट्रक्शन ला देगा, क्योंकि स्प्रेड तो पूरे में है, लेकिन अगर उसकी स्ट्रेच के लेंथ देखता हूँ तो वो कम हो जाती है। तो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट दिस सर्कुलेशन हैपन। So what happens basically, because the length of tinea, they are short as compared to length of the circular muscle cord, right? So because of that, these circulation or ostration will develop, right? So the ostration and the circulation is because there is a difference between the length of the longitudinal muscle layer in comparison to that of the circular muscle layer in large intestine, and these long longitudinal muscle layer is present not means around whole circumference of your large intestine, rather it is concentrated at 3 places, and those 3 places in case of your cecum, ascending and the descending column are interior, posterior, medial and posterior lateral, while in case of your this transverse column it is placed superiorly, inferiorly and posterior, right? So this is how your prostrations are formed in case of large intestine. Any other question, or I will be ending this meeting from my end? Okay, so this session was very small, very basically demonstration related to the gross morphological difference, but I suggest you, ये डिफरेंस मैंने आपको बताया है, पिक्चर से समझाने की कोशिश की है। जब आप यहाँ आएंगे तो विसरा को हाथ में रखेंगे तो यू विल नॉट बेसिकली मिस एनी ऑफ दीज फीचर्स, वेरी इजी to understand and to identify these features, and you can differentiate between small and the large. So thank you very much. I am now ending the slide share.